Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody can hear me. It's been a last minute, very busy day. Let's talk before we do anything else. Let's be serious about what it is that I do and quite a few of you also do. Imagine a job that you never had to set your alarm for. Imagine a job that you never have to worry about a boss telling you what to do or thinking they know better than what you're doing. Imagine a job that you can stop, start, or do anything you want any given day if you really want to. Imagine a job you don't have to wait in traffic if you don't want to. Again, a lot of what people do is based on what they want to do in reselling. Some people sell baseball cards, some people love video games, some people love clothing, some people love books. And I use the term love in there because people that do specific things actually do like those things. I like pretty much everything I sell. I enjoy it. To me, it is honestly fun to find stuff that I can turn around and make money on that I've collected myself or that I have some connection with to begin with from, like comic books or something. I collected comic books since I was like 6 or 7. Movie collectibles. I've collected movie collectibles for most of my life. Even if I never resold, I'd still have posters around, lobby card sets, stills, transparencies, 35 millimeter slides. All that stuff is still tied to what I like. Press kits. I got stacks of press kits, press material. I worked at a movie theater, for crying out loud, for a couple of years here. It was called Greenwood Cinema, and I helped run the projection for a little bit. I pretty much did everything. It was the time when Legend was in the theater and Top Gun was out. That's when I worked in the theater. Top Gun played in the theater at that exact time. Probably one of the more fun times, the funner jobs that I had. And Top Gun played for a straight month, and we were a dollar theater, so it wasn't much, but I've been into what I sell. I like what I sell. I have fun digging up what I sell, literally and figuratively, because I do metal detect. But besides that, when I run into somebody, like I'm at a record, I'm searching for records, and I run into other people who are searching for records, there's like camaraderie, I guess you would say, because especially if it's somebody who knows a lot about records, to know a lot about a topic like records, you got to be into them. You've got to like them. You've got to like records enough to look through 10,000 45s or something like that if you want to be moving volume on that. And that's the type of purchases that we have personally made. I've purchased 25,000 records before. I've purchased 10,000 LPs on many occasions, so it's not just a one-off. But I like it. You're not going to do something if you're not enjoying it. At least I would hope everybody wouldn't be looking for that. You might as well just work for somebody else if you're going to end up doing something that you won't enjoy. Now let me just bring up a little conversation I had with. In fact, I see this type of conversation quite a few times. People have obviously started reselling because of the pandemic. And I've had people, and as I said, just got in a conversation with somebody today. They had no clue about reselling, no idea, but they sold some stuff from their house because they were laid off, let go, whatever you want to call it, because of the pandemic. The store that they were working in was shut down. They can't believe the freedom, the amount, the ability to still make money doing something without all of the other headache, all the other hassle that people have working for somebody. My life is like night and day compared to what I used to do. I was a regional manager for quite some long time, like a 10-year time frame. I've been general manager. I've ran restaurants. I've ran retail and wholesale. It's almost hard to turn that off. Sometimes. Yeah, I run my business like a business. I don't treat this like a hobby, but in all honesty, it's fun. I even like looking stuff up, which most people have a problem with. I'd be willing to bet that most everybody out there watching this loves sourcing, loves the treasure hunt, loves the dig. That's what most people love. But people don't like the photographing, detailing, descriptions, and all that sort of stuff. you know, especially if you're just starting off and it's overwhelming to a lot of people, which it is. It is overwhelming. I know a lot of people say, well, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy. Well, it wasn't easy for most people, including myself when I first started out. It was very, very hard to make a full-time living. I'm saying full-time income, full-time living doing this. Nowadays, I could do it in my sleep, honestly. But again, I've done it now for heading towards 14 years full-time doing this, which is a totally different aspect than just doing it part-time. I worked for somebody else. I did it part-time. I every 3 times a month, you know, we do a week worth of auctions. So we do 3 sets of auctions. The 4th one I would take off. So I had 1 day off fully for an entire month usually when I did that. I was working for somebody else. It's a totally different atmosphere when you're going from working for somebody else to working for yourself. Either you're structured and you can handle it, or you. A lot of people need the direction, I guess. And I'm not. This isn't a criticism towards anybody, so please don't take it that way. But a lot of people need the boss. They don't. They're not up on everything. The good statement I always used to say is, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. A lot of people aren't go-getters in some aspects of it. And if you don't have to do something, a lot of people tend not to. I was guilty of that in the past too. So it's something that I've had issues with, as well as most people that I know. But these days, it's my show. This is my business. For me, it's fun being in control of, I guess you would say, your destiny. And I know that sounds kind of corny, I guess, if even that's a good word to use myself, but I do feel that I can steer things in a direction that benefits everything about my life. And that's an opportunity that was never possible. To me, that's fun. That's enjoyable. That's excitement. You know, as the person running the show, I'm like the pilot of the ship that we're in. This business is being piloted by me. And that's the fun part, because you can see stuff that you want to address. You can go after certain things. And again, it's fun. I've got videos, not a ton of haul videos, because I don't really do them like everybody else does, but people talk, well, but you're leaving this. Why didn't you buy that? Why didn't you buy this? I don't have to have everything. I'm only in it because, again, it's fun. And again, I'm making money at the same thing. And if I don't have to mess with something I don't want to, I don't buy it. It's not all about the money. And I say this and people say you're just feeding the line. But to me, the number one thing that this gives me, and I've said this I don't know how many times, is freedom. And the freedom to do what I want with my life. Obviously, you have to have revenue coming in. You have to make some money. But this does, in all honesty, you know, hand on the Bible, whatever you want to say, it offers me both. I get the freedom, the fun, and the revenue. All that comes in from what I do. Now, again, I've expressed how much hours I work, where my time goes, and stuff like that. If you think this is going to be an easy way to do it, you're in the wrong business. If you want an easy way to do it, and it just has to be totally fun and everything else like that, this probably isn't the way. Again, you have to enjoy digging, you have to enjoy the work, you have to enjoy the grind of this type of business. When I was 7, my parents never made a lot of money. My father worked for the military, did a defense plant, he did some security and stuff. He was in the military for a while during the Korean War, and they didn't make a lot of money. So my mom did garage sales every Wednesday. Here in this Ohio area, Wednesdays was the garage sale day. Everybody ran them on Wednesday. Now it's different, but back then that's the day everybody went. And my mom couldn't afford a babysitter most of the time, and I went along from 7 on till I was like 11 or 12. In the summer, I went to garage sales with my mom. I like it. I like flea markets. I like all that aspect of it. I had an uncle and a cousin who were big-time antique dealers, and I got to go along to flea markets and stuff. A lot of places most people that I went to school with would have thought, ugh, and would have stepped back from. You know, I didn't talk about what I did. It wasn't anybody's business, even back as a child. You know, the people who got it, you know, were the ones that I hung out with the most. Back when I was a child in the 70s, flea markets were kind of like low end, everybody would say, but to me it's a way of life. I enjoy it. It was always a treasure hunt. My first record I ever owned was a Talking Heads that was purchased at a garage sale for $25. It's the first album I ever owned, and again, it came from a place like that. So to me, this is fun. It's a continuation of like my childhood. I get to see things that I have super good fond memories of. Star Wars figures from the 70s, Micronauts, records, for an example, right there. The movie related stuff shows up all the time around here. Books, kids books that I personally own, like a lot of the I Can Read books. I run into those, and some of those can sell very well, like some of the Crosby Bonzell books do extremely well. In fact, I think my wife still has every one of her books, actually. But it's fun, and if it wasn't fun for me to do this, I don't know if I'd want to do it anymore. And I hate to say that, but that's the case. That's why things that happen like with eBay can be frustrating, but for those who haven't had to do the daily grind working for somebody in an awful job for like 20 plus years, a large chunk of your life, it's hard to compare, I guess. I've made 6 digits working for somebody else. I got bonuses that were close to $25,000 4 times a year if I hit my numbers. I wasn't doing terrible, but I never could spend the money because I was never anywhere. And after all is said and done with moving and shelling out, thousands to move and a bunch of stuff like that, I don't have a lot to show for all the time I worked for other people. 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, sometimes more than that. And it was never fun. I always missed family. And compare that to this, it's impossible. It's night and day, and it's an enjoyable night and day. It is fun. People think how can that be fun? And, I've got employees, I've got other stuff going on. So even with all of that stuff going on, I enjoy it. I truthfully and honestly enjoy what I do. It's not about just the money like it is for a lot of people. And that's part of why I enjoy this, because it doesn't have to always be about money. And I know there's a lot of resellers out there that all it is the bottom line, and they're cutthroat, and they'll push somebody out of the way, cut them off to get to the sale 2 seconds before somebody else to be number 3 in line for an estate sale or something like that. I'm done with those days. Again, that got to be no fun, just fighting for all the money. Again, I use my brain instead of just using my brawn to figure other ways around where I don't have to fight, I don't have to worry. And what you see in my store and you see the sales, that's what's come from that. I picked off the stuff that I like, that I can get without hassling, fighting. Going to an estate sale around here is not fun at all. You've got to be there sometimes the night before, 8 hours before the thing starts. There's people around here that drive the nights before and act like they didn't realize it was the next day. And I mean, they just totally flat out lie just to scam themselves into the door. Personally know people who were scammed by some of these local dealers and stuff. And most of them I don't trust. Most of them I won't do business with because of that. I'm not a greedy person, and this doesn't have to be that way, in all honesty. Again, that's not fun. It's not fun worrying about, am I going to get something, and what's going to happen here? And, when you have the worry that you've got to get there, and who cares about somebody else to get the revenue coming in, it's not fun. It's more of a job again. Again, this isn't a job. Even though I work more than I probably ever have, I've got complete freedom. If I wake up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock and I can't sleep, which happens, I might come down and list a dozen things and then go back to bed. I know that sounds weird, but I don't watch TV much anymore. Partially eye issues, but it just doesn't interest me. It's not fun anymore either. I'd rather blare down, Tool or something, Prison Sex or something like that, and some earphones at 3 a.m. and list a few things. To me, that's cool. To me, it's cool the next day when one of those items sells for some phenomenal price and I make a couple $100 for that 20 or 30 minutes it took me to list a dozen items, or less usually, but that's all fun. And I can't express that enough. Even when I run into people, and I ran into somebody who recognized me, who asked, "Are you done?" It's not easy. I know you're going to have people that are telling you it's easy and, there's nothing to it and no worries. They're making tons of money doing this and doing that. Most people don't have that. Pay my medical bills. This is how I put a roof over our house. We're buying a bed, a whole new bed frame and everything. Everything I do comes from this. Everything. Every single dime that comes through my hands is because of what I'm doing here. And I don't know about everybody else, but being able to not have to worry about money for once in your life is a a huge load off of your back. It's the biggest load you could imagine. I don't think there's more of a worry for most people, other than, say, a major medical scare, than money. And again, if you put your mind to it, putting in the extra effort's going to get you more out of it. I just did a video on increasing your sales. I can promise everybody out there, this is true, if you list more items all the time, you're going to make more money. End of story. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Good items. Don't list junk. If you list more items, I'm going to say it again, if you list more items, you're going to sell more. I promise you that is 100% true. If you list a lot of items, you're going to sell a lot more. If I need more money, I list more items. It's that simple. It is that simple. All those folks who don't have sales coming in, but you have hundreds of things in back stock, start listing and stop buying as the season dies off. Winter's coming in, the price of merchandise is going to go up. You're going to spend more to buy it. Once it starts to get colder, garage sales are closing down and things like that, especially up here in the north. So again, list what you got. Those naysayers who say if you list every day, you're going to run yourself out of business. I've heard that for years doing this. That's not a thing unless you're just listing junk with no potential of selling. Let's hop over to the chat. I know I'm terrible. I go on for a little bit here, but this is how I feel. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. That's how I feel. Everything I just said is just literally how I think about things, how my mind works, what I think about on a daily basis. I feel so grateful that this is my life and I'm not stuck working for a restaurant who wouldn't even be open now because of the pandemic. I'd be out on the street if I was working for somebody else here in this city or anywhere in any big city. I'd be out on the street. I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. I'd have had to done something like this. I was ahead of the curve, thank goodness. But anyway. Hey, Charles. How you doing, Charles? Yeah, I know you're in a whole... Charles is on the other side of the globe. I've got terrible reception. I don't know. We've had a lot of storms through. We had power out yesterday for 6 hours. We had a real bad storm in here. I actually had water coming in. It was coming down so bad. Tree limbs were everywhere in our yard. Power was out from 2 in the morning to almost 8. Couldn't sleep. I was up all that whole time because I have to have a fan. I can't stand silence. My ears ring and stuff. I've got tinnitus. But anyway, too many loud concerts, I would say, when I was a kid. I still listen to loud music, though. That's my vice, I guess. But hey, Duncan, happy Friday. Tomorrow's Friday here, but yeah, Duncan's in Australia. He's on the other side of the globe for sure. Must be one of the fastest category covers too. I love stamps. Duncan's a big stamp guy. He does a lot of Victorian covers. Queen Vic, Queen Victoria. That's what Queen Vic is. I'm into Victorian items. So Victorian items in general are items that were made during her reign. That means if she wasn't alive, it's not Victorian anymore, or not Victorian. Georgian is another era. So just keep that in mind. I do have affiliation. I do love stamps. I actually was given my father's when I was a child, and I've built on that. I've got a massive collection, including a nice book from a double album set from Australia. I like Victorian colonials. Anyway, stamps do very well. I've been doing, well, I can't say in one specific category because we've been selling across the board. Records are doing good. Comics, trade cards, buttons are doing phenomenal. Any type of trade card's doing good right now. I got another video coming out that I think is going to surprise people as to pricing on something that's way out there. You're probably not going to believe in it. It's something that I can almost guarantee every single person out there probably has something in their house. But that'll be up tomorrow. It's I did spend a little time on it like some of the other top 20 videos I got, but it should be very enlightening. Look out for it. It'll be up early tomorrow. We're going to be not out of town technically, but I'm not going to be around tomorrow, I think, at all. I did go metal detecting the other day with another channel, so I might call out that if he ends up putting the video together or not. I don't know, but maybe I'll show you later in this video my oldest personal dug button if anybody's interested. But anyway, I'm going to be on another channel too, unrelated to reselling, next week on Tuesday. I may do a call out to it. I'm not really sure if I'm going to, but I will be on someone else. It's a fairly decent channel, unrelated again to this. But Hey, Sandra, how are you doing? Sandra L. I got Murray right down below. Good to have you on board, Murray. Treasure Finders, Tennessee. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Good content. Yeah, if you haven't hit the like button, can pop that like button down there if you're enjoying the conversation. I got right at 100 people in house right now. Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff going on today, so I don't know how busy it will be, but I do the show either way, so thanks again, Chuck. Hey, Bob, how are you doing there? Hope you're doing well, Bob. I can barely see some of these. I didn't remember to blow up my CMC Elroy 7. How are you doing? Hey, Annie, how you doing, Annie? Annie, another fellow YouTuber there, too. She has a channel, does a lot. In fact, she does stuff on Victorian items as well. If you get a chance, check out Annie. Amazon Seller 99. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, things are going very well. My eyes are my biggest problem right now. I have constant headaches. I can barely concentrate some days. It limits a lot of what I can do, but anyway. Hey, Richard, how you doing? Mr. Johnson? Thank you. Jeff Loftus, how are you doing as well? James Fabo, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing as well? Harry S., I like turtles. Kidding. I enjoy collecting signs and posters. We have a pet turtle, so when you said that, I do like turtles. Signs and posters, I do like posters myself. When I worked at Greenwood, the movie theater, whenever a movie ended, you could buy them for $10, all the posters. And I don't know how many I bought, hundreds of them probably. I own a Revenge of the Jedi poster. I own a Empire with a Revenge of the Jedi poster snippet, and those are two of my favorite ones. I got some 2 sheets, 3 sheets, 4 sheet, and I own 1 6-sheet for the Nutty Professor with Fred McMurray. It's a 1967 6-sheet. If you know what a 6-sheet is, that is a billboard. That's how big this thing is, and I bought it, years and years and years ago. I think I even bought it maybe on eBay, but bought it for $20. Those things are almost impossible to find now, but I love old posters. Carol Freshour, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly as well. Yeah, Duncan, sales are very strong. eBay still has millions of buyers on their site. I could never work for a boss again. eBay gives you freedom, but you do have to consistently list the right stuff. That is a 100% true statement. I look at stores all the time, and I mean, seriously, I look at a lot of stores. Anybody in Patreon, I do free store reviews and stuff like that, too. The level wise, there's a level obviously that the $9.99, I guess. I'm not big on promoting it, but I do a lot. I look at a lot of stores, and if Patreon asks me to look at some of their items or do this or do that, I get emails all the time. It's stuff that I do. I look at a lot of stuff. The biggest problem for most sellers who haven't been on more than a couple of years is the items you are listing. That's usually number 1. Number 2 is the title. Those are the 2 biggest things I see day in and day out with every store of people who've been on only for a short period of time. It's always the same things. And that's the same issues I had. I'm not trying to pick. Most everybody has those issues. There's a learning curve. You're going to have to figure out and work your way through what sells, what doesn't, what you can get your hands on, what to pay, all those aspects of it. But again, that to me, it's a game. I'll use the word pilot and, play the game, feed the machine. That's how I take it. I see it more of a challenging, a game, a challenge, I guess. And that's how I see it. So if eBay does some changes, I work around them. If something else changes on Amazon or something, I work around it. All of those things are things that you can address to some extent. You are confined by the site, obviously, but let me pop back over here. Hey, Marty Jiminy Flip It, how are you doing? Good to see you back in as well. Joe Sinard, how are you doing? Vintage Vagabond Vens, welcome as well. Cornelius the Crow Tamer, I just found a vintage copy of Zachariah Stitchin's The Lost Realms at my Goodwill 10 minutes ago. Well, there you go. Yep, treasure hunting is the best. Yes, relaying. It doesn't have to be. When I list, I've got routines for everything. We list together, so I don't have to. When I list anything, it's all set stuff from like the same category, so I don't have to change much. It flies. Time flies by. If it takes you 5 or 10 minutes to do one listing, I personally feel that it drags the time on. Just like measuring clothing. I know if it has a size, you still need to put all those measurements. All the extra effort that goes into listing a piece of clothing isn't fun. It's tedious. It's brain draining to me. The stuff I list is quick. It's easy. All I got to do is identify it, date it, and list it. There's not much else to it. It's fun to know, like if I get 45 items up in an hour, which is 100% very, very doable thing in paper, it's a thrill. I try to say I want to get 250 items up today, or whatever the quote is. 250 items up can be done in less than 5.5 hours by people here, pretty much anybody in my facility. As crazy as people say that sounds, that's true. I've got videos showing you how I do it. It's fun that way. It's a challenge. If I list 250 items in a day by myself and other people list, we immediately get sales from that. My revenue immediately goes up, and I can immediately get gratification from all of that effort I put in. That's the point. I mean, a lot of people are just working. I get gratification from a lot of the things I do, and it makes me feel good when I can afford to help one of the kids, or buy a car for whatever it is. That's a good feeling. It's providing for your family. You're doing it on your own. You figured out how to do it yourself, and to me, that there's nothing more proud or feeling of accomplishment than getting this all done yourself, from having no help. We lived in Virginia and in Washington, D.C. area during 9/11. We had no family anywhere. It was just us. So having help is great, but, I never count on anything anymore. I never, ever count on any form of help from anybody. That's just me. That's just because we've lived for years in places where, because of being a regional and moving for the company, I never had family around. So you realize and you figure out ways to do things without having to rely on other people. And that it's a good feeling. It's great to have help. It's great to have family and friends, but that's not always possible for a lot of people, including several people I know right here in the chat, because I have talked to several people in here about stuff like that. But let me pop down and make sure I'm not missing anybody. Everyday Treasures Found, how are you doing? I don't want to miss anybody. My vision isn't the greatest, so hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Morning, everybody. Disgruntled Octopus. Interesting. Bluegrass Picker, how are you doing? When I found my niche, it has become a lot of fun. I've got many niches. If I like the items, they're vintage, they're collectible, I'm fine. Anything paper, books, maps, painting, anything paper I love. I love metal items, vintage metal, tankards and measures and pewter stuff. I love old pewter. I love colonial pewter, old brass pieces made in the colonial time, 1700s. All that stuff I love. I love, anything paper is my biggest thing, though. Military, I love. I love toys. And with all my, like, even the college work, it's all tied towards, like, cultural studies, American cultural studies. And a lot of what I sell, I do, and I invest and buy and sell is all tied to the same basic area. It's all fun. It's all, like, brings back my fond childhood memories and things. It's all old stuff. A lot of you either get it or you don't. Again, that's my take on it. Tank Prism, I work for other people. There's nothing wrong with working for other people. I'm not trying to disparage anybody who does, but for me, the jobs that I have done, this is just a godsend. This is just, it's unbelievable. This is what I do, and I make, better than I ever have before doing it on my own. There's nobody taking a chunk out of it. All my hard work comes back to me, not to somebody else, which is the case that I've experienced as a manager. I was salaried. So they tell you to jump, you got to jump. They tell you to work 100 hours this week, you got to work 100 hours that week. Something happens, you're in charge, it's your store, you got to. It doesn't matter if you're there, if you got to move in sometimes. That's the experience. Your boss doesn't care that you had a bad day or anything else like that. Most bosses don't care. I've had one that did, but one out of many. That doesn't count, I guess I would say. Let's pop on down. Midnight Man 352. That's why I'm a flea market vendor. I did flea markets too. I did that too. I used to set up at Renninger's. I did Mount Dora in Florida. I had a booth there, the whole works. But again, that was more work because I had to haul the stuff out there. I didn't have a permanent booth. I just did it on, once a week and stuff. But, that's not for me either. I can't. I like the freedom, I guess. From here, I can sell just as much way more anyway, honestly, than when I worked or did the flea markets. I had antique booths too. I had them in Meridian, Mississippi. I had several in several different places, actually. 3, actually. It's one I had in Collins area, or Newton. I'll take that back. One was in Newton, and it was Dee Dee's. I don't even know if she's around anymore. And then there was one in Meridian, downtown area. And then there's a big antique mall in Meridian that I also had a booth in, too. So I've done all of those routes. I've done everything else. I used to do estate sales. I bought out estate sales. We've bought out many stores, the entire stores. One of my biggest purchases was an entire antique bookstore that we bought. The entire thing, tens of thousands of books. It was a humongous undertaking, but we made a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Are you a collector? Good evening as well. Thank you very kindly. Let's see here. I wish I could see this a little better without messing up my image. There we go. I've been making VHS copies of old wrestling events, TV shows, and old pay-per-view like WrestleMania. Do I need to worry about copyright? 100% you have to worry about copyright. Not only do you have to worry about copyright, you cannot sell tapes like that at all. And I know people put blank and then description. That can get you booted off eBay. In fact, video I have up tomorrow is going to touch on some of that actually too. That is against the law 100% to sell copies of any of those sorts of things. And a pay-per-view will go after, even if it's from 20 years ago, from what I understand. Especially if you're mass producing them. It's technically not even allowed on eBay just to sell an original copy that you happen to get from a big VHS collection. But making copies of it, no, that's a big, big no-no. You could get sued from several different people, including the franchise itself, if somebody reports you. I would never, ever risk doing anything like that. Those are all copyrighted material, copyrighted. Commercial or something else like that may not be, but you can't do any copyrighted. That's a 100% copyright as well as a trademark violation. That could get you some major issues and booted very quickly on eBay. Just FYI. Michael Sanborn, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly as well. Henry S. Some people pass blenders and buy a trinket to sell that makes them a fraction because they don't want to sell a blender. I actually have some blender parts in here from a, a Ninja, I think it's called. I think it's called a Ninja or something like. I mess with some of that. I'm not a big fan on it, so I don't rush out and grab it. But if there's something there, I passed on some. It's a major brand. I think it's the Gourmet Kitchen or something. I passed on something the other day, and I probably should have bought it because it ended up I could have made like $600-700. They were Pampered Chef ceramic trays and bar, brand new in the box. And they were selling them from like $5 to $10, and they were all selling $60 to $90 on eBay. But I don't know. I was going back and forth because of the weight and fragileness and stuff like that. It wouldn't have been fun, so I let go $600-700. And no exaggeration, that's probably what it was because there was dozens of them, And I could have worked out a deal. I know the people who run the store that they were at fairly well. I do computer IT work for them when they get a donated laptop or something. I'll give her a hand. It's a charitable organization. They help out several different groups. It's all a non-profit too. So, but anyway, I didn't do it. It wasn't going to be fun. I didn't want to have to mess with it. I have sold blender parts though. Let's see here. Let me pop down the link to the 10x4 bags. It's not working. David W. Bags come and go on those sorts of things, so it may work at some point, and then it'll be down, and then it'll come back up on those. If you're looking for bags or something like that, I literally just pick who's the cheapest these days. As long as if I'm looking for a 1 mil and it's 10x14 or a 2 mil, I just go by that. And what I look for when I'm buying any bag is I buy them either 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000 at a time because the prices will be cheaper. So I'd rather buy. I know I'm going to use them at some point. Even if it takes a year to use something, you're getting them so much cheaper. if you buy them in bulk. So again, I don't really so much even worry about it. I'm terrible on marketing and the links down there. I'll be honest. I'm not looking to. Everybody says you should spend more time doing this. You'll make more money. I'm really not trying to be making all my money off of YouTube. I'm a reseller, so that's another reason why I don't post links to my store usually and things like that, because I'm not trying to get money off you watching the videos. I get money from YouTube for people watching the videos. I'm not a great on marketing. That's not my thing. Again, it's not fun. It's not fun to put links and all that kind of stuff. It gets old and stuff. So I do apologize. Some of those links aren't active all the time, but honestly, just go by the cheapest price. Pick the mil of plastic, which is how thin it is. 1 mil is thinner than 2 mil, and the higher the mil number, the thicker the plastic is. I never buy anything thicker than 2 mil, and I usually buy 1 mil depending on the item that I am shipping. Any cards are in 2 mil for us. That's just the way I do it. So like the postcards, 3.5 by 11 is the standard size. And again, you need to order a hair bigger so you have extra room to fit the card in. But anyway, the old man picks. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm terrible even on that. Hit the like button if you have not and you are enjoying it. If you could please smash that. I got 147 people in house right now and 75 likes. Agree. eBay is not actually, this is Duncan, actually easy work, but you get the rewards to what effort you put into it. Unlike a job, if you work harder, you get nothing extra, just paycheck. Now, that's pretty darn true for most jobs out there. If I want more money, I just list more items. I just put in a few more hours, and that is honestly all it takes. I don't want to give out numbers. I never like to give out numbers, but if I showed what we put away in the bank every month, people would probably be pretty surprised. I'm cheap. I don't spend a lot. I put a lot of effort into this. I mean a lot. Everything that I do is zoned around reselling, zoned around listing, purchasing. Everywhere I go, whatever I do is tied to reselling. I can't go anywhere mentally wise without seeing something that I could potentially sell these days. It's fun. It's like a challenge. It pays for a vacation. It pays for dinner. Whatever I've done, I've been able to pay for it through reselling. And I've enjoyed the time while I've done this. I wished I would have thought about doing this 20 some odd years ago. It had never worked for anybody if I knew this was even a thing back in the day when eBay first came around. But where are we at? Davey Vaughn, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly. Devi, I'm sorry. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Yeah, I forgot to blow up the screen, and it's a little hard to read. Dave, Midwest Picker, is in the house. How are you doing, Dave? He's got a channel, too, if you are unaware. He actually has the wrench on this channel, too. Found some 1974, 75 library posters. None for sale on the internet. Yay. Could be good, could be bad. Poster-wise, from the 70s, you usually can make 10, 20, 30 bucks for most posters, as long as the content is okay. Even just like everyday routine posters from that time. I got a whole stack of Carl's Jr. posters the other day from the 70s. Now, they're advertising stuff, but still. Glasses and superhero stuff, it's all got potential. There's none on eBay either of those, and I got a huge stack down here, about that tall. There's probably 400 or 500 record store posters, tons of them. I mean, I got them from a marketer and a promotional company who did publicity for a lot of the main record distributors. So I got lucky on that one. Hey, Junk and Data Girl, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in too. Bluegrass Picker, love Tool. Yeah, I do like Tool. I saw them once for a few minutes at a small bar show they had in Daytona area once before, and they weren't well done. I've liked them ever since then. I know the title's not great, but I do like Prison Sex, that song. Undertow, I'm not going to call out all their songs, but those are two of my favorites. 4, 6, and 2 is your favorite. Good one. Often list one or two before going to sleep. Duncan. Yeah, I I work 12 hours usually. If I get up, I'm here till it's way dark. Yesterday, two people were listing yesterday till like 12:20. So if you look at my store, you're going to see stuff just went up real late last night. Two people have already listed stuff today on a couple different platforms. So we every day we list stuff every single day. The amount of offers to watchers I send out is well over 200, I think, at this point, just in the last day. So we dropped down sales. I'm only doing 1/3 of our store on sales. I dropped down the percentage only down to a 10% sale. Sales are coming in very good. I didn't need to do any more than 10%. I do 3x on my prices. So a 10% off is still more than 2x on pricing right off the bat. So even at a 10% off, I'm making more than I would expect to in the first place. Again, I got structure on pricing, and I do all that. I kind of weigh all that option before I buy anything. I turned down stuff today. I literally turned down some stuff today that I could have made some money on, but I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't want to deal with packing. I didn't want to deal with storage. We bought, just the other day, a massive amount of stuff, and I'll probably show Patreon, because I'm going to be moving. I have to move stuff around just because of sheer quantity of stuff, and we're condensing a bunch of stuff, trying to get one more shelf in, just because I've got so much back stock. Filled our house. The wife couldn't use the kitchen for almost 4 days, if that tells you how much merchandise we got. It was just such a good price. I couldn't pass it down. Vintage Vagabond Vens. Another Tool fan, it sounds like. Some real sellers are completely classless and shove people out of the way and take from your pile. Yep, seen it personally many, many times. If you go to a auction around here, there's several auction houses. If you go to them and you leave your stuff sitting on a chair while you go to grab some more stuff, they're going to take it. Or they're going to try and walk off with it if you do anything. The only safe way around here to do an auction is to bring somebody with you. That's why I don't do auctions either. It wasn't fun. And I know many people have had stuff stolen, and I also know some of the auction houses aren't very honest with what they do either, from what I have personally seen. I'm not going to call it any names, but there's several. If you look, here's an example. If you want to know what's going on with your auctioneers, go down to the police department and get some criminal records done on some of them. You can get some of that can be pulled. You can also research some of that online too. You can check the Better Business Bureau. A large chunk of estate sale people as well as auctioneers have had some legal trouble. Look it up yourself. Look it up yourself. I know that's the case around here. Again, I'm not going to call it any names. I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but there's some good ones. But there's probably twice as many bad ones around here as there are good ones. So when I say stuff isn't fun anymore, that's another aspect of what's not fun. A lot of those aspects. Part of the reason why I like antique malls so much, because I don't get bothered. I can just walk in, I can take my time, I can look, I don't have to deal with somebody. Same thing with like a flea market. You know, it's just not, estate sales just aren't fun anymore. It's cramped, they're pushy, there's arrogant people out there, there's rude people, there's obnoxious people. I've seen fights at those kind of places. It's just not fun. You know, and if I'm going to do this and it's going to be a dredge for me to get out of bed knowing that I'm going to have to deal with idiots every day, you know, it's just not fun, because you're going to run into the same people in any given area. They're all going to, you're going to run into other resellers, you know, and there's just some with no scruples around here. There's quite a few, not everybody, of course, and I'm not trying to, you know, pinhole anybody into one specific meaning, but around here, that's what it is. I don't know what it is with people these days. I'm a polite, caring, and helpful person, and that's just not what I see these days at all. You know, but anyway, I know I'm ranting and raving, but let's go on. Yeah, I don't know why there would be a bad connection too. I've been wondering if it's me, but on YouTube's end it says everything's fine, and on no drop frames, 0%. Maybe you might want to reload your page, Dave. It's the only thing I can think of. Are you a collector? Was wondering, you manage your picture files on the items you sell. Do you have any set procedures as far as storage and deletion of files? We store them all on SD cards. I've got 150 different SD cards. They're all numbered. They're all cataloged. So if I need something, it's there. I do have a Blu-ray, so I've got a few books in the works, and I've been forever trying to get photos for a 78 guide, and I've been doing button guide as well on the side. And I keep some on Blu-ray discs. It's right over here, actually, because I had somebody burn it. But I burn all that stuff on the Blu-rays. All my Patreon videos, stuff like that's all on Blu-ray. So if I ever have an issue, I've got copies of everything. Everything, when it's scanned or photoed, is done in an SD card. Everything. And those cards stay with the items that they were photoed. So if somebody's using a camera, the SD card comes out of the camera and sticks with the items that they photoed. So it's always together. Goes for cards. If I'm scanning, the same thing. I have never lost an SD card. I have never lost an image. It might be hard to go and track them down, but I still have them all. I started 15 or 20 years ago. I've been saving for years, like more than a decade, stuff that's not legal or not proper to sell on eBay, like human organs, and I've got a huge file of that kind of stuff too. One of these days I'll put together a book of things that people try to sell on eBay. I've got thousands of just stuff you'd be shocked that people try to sell on eBay, but hopefully that makes sense. Are you a collector? Everything stays somewhere. You can burn them onto Blu-ray, but you know, it's just a nuisance for me. I've got a portable Blu-ray drive that I can use too. So that way I can go to any one of, we got bunches of laptops. I can go to any of the laptops or towers or pull it from a server or whatever else too. If you put it on an SD card, many people list here. So if it's on an SD card, I can just give somebody the SD card, the items to list with pricings already on them, tell them to grab a laptop, and off they go. I don't have to worry about anything. They can list it on anything. So any one of the things around here has that ability. I did have to go out and buy one of these the other day. This is a SD card. I don't know what the brand is, but I researched it ahead of time. Just because, like, servers, I'm cheap, so I don't buy servers with you know, slots or extra plugins or anything else. It's just what I need. As long as they're upgradable, and this works great. I can use it anywhere. You just slide an SD card in here or a micro SD card. So if yours doesn't have, you know, available slot or whatever the case may be, but anyway, between that and extension USB hubs and stuff like that, those are probably my favorite tools for reselling. But let me pop back on here. Yeah, if reception, we've had some major outages here from a storm yesterday, so it could conceivably be where there's some lines still not right and things like that right now around here. Again, we had power out for like 6 hours in the middle of the night yesterday, and we've had storms pretty much since then. We're supposed to have storms all the way through till tomorrow evening. Really bad ones. There was a block and a half away. A tree took out a whole side of a house. It just collapsed on top of the house. A big old tree, too. A big old oak tree. Let me pop on back up here. What classifies as junk, and how do you know if you're pricing things correctly? V3X14G. Junk is stuff that's not worth listing. I don't list anything unless I'm going to at least be able to list it for $10 or higher, $9.99. And it has to be something I don't have much into. I'm never going to list something where I'm only going to make $6 or so bucks or $7. It's just not worth my time. Even if I have somebody listing and they're listing 45 items an hour, I don't list anything under that threshold, at least paper-wise. If it takes a little more time, like a 78 record, these days, if it's not worth $20, I'm not even going to list it, because you got to keep in your shipping time and stuff like that. Now, I charge for shipping for everything we sell too, so I never worry about that aspect of it, but you got to consider your time into it. Junk, if you're looking up something and there's hundreds of them on and it's only going to sell for $5 or $6, that's junk to me. That's just not worth it unless you have hundreds of them and it's something that's going to sell real quick. The only drawback is it's your time. If it takes a long time to pack something and it's only selling for $5.99, even if you charge in for shipping, it's not practical. It's not practical for me to, after fees and everything, to only make $2 or $3 off of one item. It's just not practical. I like items that I'm going to make, money, $30, $40. I think our average right now is right around $32 or so, average item sold value across the board, average for all items we sold. Now, I sell a lot of high-dollar stuff. Maybe I don't show it as much, but 75 to, say, 250 is a large chunk of what we sell, dollar-wise. We sell some in the 1,000 range. We sell some higher than that. Lowest I think we sold today was around $17.50. I'll take that back. I sold Lover Madly on Elektra, first pressing of The Doors, today for $15. That was my lowest priced item selling today. And I think the next one up was $17.50. Again, with the record, I have a nickel into it. It's $15. I listed it for, I think, $24. It's an NM minus, near mint minus, gold mine standard. Sold. I don't care if it sits for a little while, too. That's the other thing. If you're new and you need the money coming in, you can't have stuff sitting in your store. You need to turn them. So it may be junk if it doesn't sell quick for you, too. Price-wise, that's something, again, there's a learning curve. It's hard for me to give out a price. Even if somebody posts a photo of something in, like, say, Patreon, sometimes it's hard to give a price because I can't tell from a photo if something's real or not. And that's the deciding factor. If I could show everybody and hold up the items in front of you and show you this, that, and give you the insides on it, it would be so much better and easier for people to understand if you can touch it and feel it. Like vintage uniforms and things like that. Touch is your most important asset when you're looking at vintage clothing. It's the feeling of the clothing. I know instantly if something's old uniform jacket or something just by the touch of it. And I can't teach that without people grabbing and touching things. Or old wood that's 200 years old. It has a feeling to it. It has a sound to it. That's the kind of thing that you've got to, I guess, get. You're going to have to get the grasp on pricing. I don't list stuff in flooded categories either, so I'm not going to list a shirt for $20 that's going to cost me $7 to ship and that cost me $6 to get, that there's 200 of them up. That's junk in my book. It's not worth my time because how am I going to compete against everybody else? And on top of that, with those sorts of items, you're going to have to do a promoted listing. And I don't do promoted listings at all. I haven't done them in like almost 2 years now, ever since the ad blocker issue, which as far as I can see still is going on. But anyway, I don't do promoted listings. So I don't like to sell stuff that I have to do a promoted listing on. If you're enjoying the conversation, please smash that thumbs up. I got 149 people in house and 97 likes. Again, it's hard to describe junk. Every store I look at from somebody who's new is going to have some junk in it, just like I did. So you're going to have to figure out what's not selling. You're going to have to go back through your store multiple times to figure out. If you've got something that's only priced $5 and you're including free shipping, take it down and be done with it. You're going to spend more time on listing it and packing it than you would make out of it. Your time is worth money. You got to weigh that. And too many people look at it at a price and go, well, I'll make $4 off of this. They don't realize it's going to take them 10 minutes to pack. It took them 10 minutes to list, maybe 10 minutes to source. So you got, while it's 30 minutes, you got a half hour into something that you're only going to make a couple bucks on. That would equate to you only making $9 or $10 an hour. Look at it that way. Just like when I list something, Are You Collector, talking about listing. If people are listing, they need to get up so much value an hour. They have to. It's the only way I can judge and keep the flow coming in to where I want it to come in. $450. If I'm listing 45 items that cost $10 an hour, good items, good. To me, something that should sell for $10 is a decent item when you only spend a dime or less into it and it only takes you seconds to list it. You may have a minute or 2 minutes into the entire process of getting that card up or whatever the case may be. With 45 items up at $10 an item, which it's never just $10. It's usually average price of like $14, $15, $17 when you weigh out all their listing. You're at least getting $450 up worth of merchandise an hour. That's the key. It's the amount of value you can get up in a certain given time frame is the key to making this work, in my opinion. I've tried everything. I can bet you I've tried everything that everybody else has tried out there. I've sold all that stuff, whatever it is, I've sold it. And I've come to the conclusion that what I'm selling now works the best for me. It's fun. It's easy. Easy to me is listing 45 items an hour, and it's a breeze. I crank up some song or something, and off I go. Pure Morning, Placebo I had on just before the show. One of my favorite 90s songs. Bound to the Floor by, what's the name of the group? Is it Blur? No, that's not it. Something H. Can't think of the name of it. But anyway, those are two of my favorite songs from that time frame. I'll crank up the music, and I'm rocking out. It's fun. I enjoy it. Even if I sing along to some of the songs. You know, I like that. I wouldn't karaoke in front of people, but if it's just me, I don't care what the kids think. You know, they already know dad's crazy, and they probably think the same thing about mom, but, you know. Bluegrass Picker, a Tool song titled Prison Sex is the name of a song. Yes, it is. And it's a good song, too. It's actually the first Tool song I think I actually ever heard, and that was at that show. But anyway. Henry asks, I source stamps many times, so easy to find value in cast-offs. Yeah, I love stamps. I try to go into stamps on Patreon, but man, stamps are hard to... Stamps are overwhelming. Let's put it that way. Usually what I get when I do stamp videos, and I don't do them on YouTube because I don't want to give out too much on stamps. It's an area I love. To me, it's a little piece of artwork, and I love the engraved stuff. It's like a banknote to me, and I love banknotes. Stamps are overwhelming to most people. And if you're new to collectibles in general, I would never recommend stamps because you can miss one little watermark, a grill on a stamp or something, and you could give away $300 in a split second because you hadn't a clue on what you had. And one stamp can look like any other stamp, certain ones, but there could be a certain variant in one stamp that makes it worth 1,000 versus the normal version worth 2 or 3 cents. There's a lot to stamps, and I don't know how you'd even teach. I've been trying, and it's one of those categories that's just hard and it's tough, and a lot of people aren't into it, but I am. I love stamps. We've got, I don't know, a couple million stamps, I would gather. That sounds like a lot, but you can fit that on a couple 4-foot-long shelves. You know, they're all booked. I've got stock albums and stuff. Lots of stock albums. In fact, I buy used stock albums off eBay for like 12 to 14. If they're 25 pagers is what I get with the glassine little, what do you call them? Little sleeve slots, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. With the rows, I guess. Jackass Retro, how are you doing? Woke up from my nap just in time. Probably won't make it down to this chat, though. Okay. Talking about, again, as a reseller, if I want to take a nap, I can take a nap. Nothing wrong with that. I've laid down probably many times when I probably shouldn't have, but I don't like to sit down on the sofa and watch shows or anything because then I'll sit there for a while. But good to have you in, Jackass, though. Beautiful Sounds, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly. My chat just jumped. Hang on, let's see. It bounced all the way down to the very bottom. Annie saying it might be a viewer product. I can sell it on Amazon, I can tell you that. Pampered Chef, because I've had it. We had a Pampered Chef go out of business up here, and I've sold some. I don't know about eBay. You may be right on that one, but I know I can sell it on Amazon. And they were NOS. They were still in the box. One of the stores around here, there was a business that went out of... I'll give you a story. I know people like to hear sometimes great finds. I was at a small rinky-dink thrift store. It's not very big. My house is probably bigger than their display area, by far. And there was some jewelry in the case, and they had some rings for $10 a piece. And I looked at them, and I wasn't 100% sure. They were all marked 10, 12, 14 karat gold. There were some China ones, so I was like a little suspicious, and then one was Jerusalem. And I haven't seen any markings like that. I bought one of them thinking, it's just going to be junk. And I had to take some other items to Estate Jewelers, the same jeweler that I always go to. As good as gold. I went back to that place, and I bought... like $500 or $600. Everything that was marked gold in the store on that. I drove back to Estate Jewelers and walked out with almost $7,200 from my investment. So in the time frame of maybe, because I went to the Estate Jewelers, I showed the first ring. I didn't sell it then because I wanted the wife to pick out what she wanted first, but made sure it was real. I drove straight back to the thrift store and bought it all, and then drove straight back. Well, actually, I didn't go back there first. I'll take that back. I came home and then showed the wife what and let her pick out, and then I went to Estate Jewelers after that. In fact, I think she went with me that day. But we walked out with $7,200 in cash. Well, a check, but I just took it to my bank because they bank where we bank. But anyway, that's one of those experiences that you just can't. That's one of those I guess hauls where you're going to be thinking about it for a long time, because all told with what she kept, we made like $12,000 from a little rinky-dink place that no one goes to. I think I'm way off on my chat here. Let's see if I can figure out where it's bounced me to again. Okay, I got it. Okay, sorry. Candy Donnelly. Listing as much as you can weekly, you will see your sales increase, but only list good stuff. I can't say that enough. If you're just going to list stuff just to get stuff up, you're wasting your time. I would probably say 20-25% of those just getting into it maybe get the labor aspect of it. If it's you and your wife, you and a kid, or you and whoever else, your other half, whoever that may be, you've got to realize that your time equates into everything you sell. So if you're listing stuff that's time consuming, either to ship, to list, to photo, to describe, you could be wasting time. Again, it comes down to why I pass things up when I can still make money. Like a blender. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I would pass up a blender to buy postcards any day of the week because the postcards are simple and easy. And I can get just as much money, if not more. We've sold postcards for $1,000. I've sold many for $400 and $500. So how many blenders have I ever sold for that much? None. I've sold blenders for 100, 120. I think they're all Ninjas, the ones that I usually get, because Kroger's usually blows them out like once or twice a year. I buy from the grocery store to resell. I've bought many things from the grocery store. The blenders are one of the ones, as I've said, and sometimes even if they're broken, I've talked to the manager and then I bought it for parts in the past. Because the paddles and stuff are expensive. You got to buy them from the company or you got to buy a broken one. So that's why a lot of that kind of stuff makes good money. I know somebody who makes money just selling bread makers. There's some part in a bread maker that's worth a lot of money, and if you know what they are and stuff, you can get them for almost nothing, bread makers. And I've run into him, I don't know how many times. He just travels around and goes by all the thrift stores and stuff and picks up every bread maker that they have. Let me show something. I don't know if this will show up very well, but around here, Battle Put in Bay, Anthony Wayne's Trail, there's a lot of War of 1812 and frontier sites out there. Now, again, I don't know. I'm going to have to put this over to see if you can even see it. Probably not. I don't know how well you can see that, but I dug this one up just the other day. This is a 1795 through about 1810 Royal Artillery button, 3 cannons. It's a one-piece. It's an early, dug out of the ground here at a battlefield. And in fact, another channel invited me to go out and metal detect there. It's another YouTube channel, and I'm not going to call them out because I didn't ask permission, or they brought me out there. This was just them being nice. But anyway, that's the fun stuff that I do. I love metal detecting. That stuff sells. Yeah, I don't know if it looks bad on everybody's screen. I'm not going to reload it on my end to figure it out, but let me go back to here. I know I'm rambling around. No connection problem here. Yeah, it might be locally here. I'm not sure where everybody's at. Hey, Rob. How you doing, Rob? Glad to have you in the house. I love metal detecting with my mini lab. I've used the mini lab. I have 2 Tesoros, and then I have one's a Golden Saber 2. Tesoro's out of business, and the other one I have a White Ace 250 that I got for the kids. And believe it or not, that one's the cheaper one, and it works really good. I like going out when it's wet because you can usually get a little more depth. So around here, when it rains, is the best time, especially on the older battlefields because the material's much deeper. I think that button came out of the ground at 9 inches, and I might not have caught it had it not been sitting flat up like that. The shank's in perfect condition too, which I almost never find. I did find another one, but I haven't researched it yet. It says Honorable Artillery, and it's a silver-plated officer's button. This one might date a little earlier, but I haven't looked it up yet. I know the artillery one. I've seen them in the books before. It's my first one I ever dug, actually. Where are we at? Ink, paper, wax collector. How are you doing from Canada? One of these days we will get up. Had the pandemic not happened, we would have been in Canada sourcing the summer before. Honestly, that was our plans. We already had everything. I've got my passport card. The whole works already. Shelby M. Good evening from the beautiful Texas Hill Country. Well, welcome, welcome. Been to Dallas. I worked in Dallas for a month and a half, so I know the area. I actually took USDA classes in Dallas myself. Bargain in the Burbs. I can barely. Mia Boleen Tudor. Welcome, welcome. Elizabeth Barnes, welcome in the house. Resell Studio, how are you doing? See if I can catch up to some questions here. I know I'm terrible. Don Sharp, well, how are you doing from Utah? Headaches are from vision. Chiropractor's not going to do a darn thing. I've got vertical diplopia with blur in my left eye, and it's gotten kind of worse these days. Some days my left eye is totally useless, and I have no depth perception, and that's where the headaches come from. I've been to 7 different doctors. I've probably been to 27, I think I counted, visits over my eye. 27, not some small number, but 27 visits. I got another one coming up. I'm going to a whole new set of doctors trying to get some relief. Eventually, I'm just going to have them scrape the skin off my eyeball and hope that that fixes it, because it's coming down to the end where that's the only thing it's looking like. I got an MRI coming too. But anyway, let's move on from that. I wish the chiropractor would fix it, but that's not going to touch it at all. Yeah, I just have to take, 800 milligrams of whatever it is that's sitting over there. I've got a prescription from the doctor for 500 milligrams for migraines just over this, but it would be nice to have the vision fixed. I've got so many floaties in my left eye that there's like globs that float across. It's really probably the most aggravating experience I've ever had is from this. It's limited what I can do and stuff, in all honesty. Yeah, it's not fun. Let's just put it that way. Elizabeth Barnes, I only do buy it nows pretty much for everything these days. I might have, no, in fact, I think I shut down all of my auctions and yeah, I did. About a week or two ago, I shut down all auctions and I just listed them all as bins. And I've been doing better by bin. I don't do any auctions hardly at all anymore, unless it's some rare item. The last auction I did was for I think it was a Garfield tobacco card. I don't even think I did an auction for that. I think I just put a high price on it. I know it sold for like $500. Yeah, I can't remember when the last auction I needed to run. I was doing auctions to blow things out. These days, too, any item that we had that was below $10, we raised everything up as we see them, too. So nothing in my store will be less than $10 going forward, either paper-wise. Nothing that's bigger, takes more time to list, will be under $20 as well, too. So, CC Ryder, how are you doing? Major thunderstorm in Zanesville. I have 2 vintage 1940 record players going to Columbus to get them restored. Oh, there's a guy here in Toledo that restores radios and all that stuff too. Yeah, we've had some major thunderstorms through here. Zanesville's not that far. Zanesville's not that far away. Vicky Martin, how are you doing? How do you handle buyers that want you to text them on a phone and not go through the eBay mess? I don't do anything like that. If they're trying to get me to contact them outside of eBay, I report them to every time. Every single time. Don't ever not report it when somebody tries to get you to it. There's an option when you report the buyer, state that they try to get you to make the rest of the deal off of eBay platform. Don't ever do it. If you're caught doing that, they can assess final value fees even if you didn't sell it. They can raise your percentage of final value fees you would sell also, because they can consider you a high risk. They could even ban you from the site if they catch you doing something like that off of platform. So I never discuss anything. I tell the people that the rules state I have to discuss it through eBay, and that is the only place I will ever discuss anything related to eBay. End of story. And that's all you tell them, and then move on. If they don't want to deal with it, block them. Block them if they don't want to follow the rules. That's all I would say. I've got about maybe 70 names on my block list. That's not a lot considering for how long we've been on, but we're going to go for just a few more minutes here. Benjamin Adams, how are you doing? Iowa Park, Texas. I actually know where that's at. M. Scott, you will get into issues with TOS if you take conversations off platform. Exactly. Don't ever take anything off platform. Never, ever, ever, ever do it. Queen City. I don't know what Queen City is, Sandra L. Oh, Queen City and Meridian. Okay, yeah, I know where you're talking about. It's off the highway. I think you can see it from the main highway going through town. I can't even think of the name of the highway. It's been so long. I can't think of the name of the highway. I've driven it so many times. It's 30 minutes. It was 30 minutes from Hickory, where we lived, to Meridian where I worked, and then the flea market was heading towards, geez, I can't even remember the name of that city. You had to go to the left when you go through Meridian, when you're heading towards Alabama, when you're heading east. Shoot, I can't. There's a big, huge flea market, antique mall out there. I used to go. I made a lot of money there, and I mean a lot of money. Thank you, Bruce Cheney. Thank you very kindly. Mary Ramsey, thank you as well. Well, thank you, Bargain in the Burbs. Postcards and sheet music, man. I've been doing postcards and sheet music for 20 plus years. I used to pick up postcards for nothing back in the day. On eBay, the prices have gone up steady. I'm sure people are going to blame it on people like me talking about it, but I love postcards. I can still get them any day of the week. Any day of the week. I can go right now. What time is it? I can go right now for 40 more minutes and pick up postcards right this very second till 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday if I wanted to. And I can always make money on postcards. And that's something that I can buy from other people and make other dealers and make money still. I wouldn't do it so much at a postcard or paper show unless you knew the dealers very specifically. And I know there's a lot of people who buy them off eBay too. Most of the people selling bulk lots on eBay have already listed them. They're selling you the stuff that won't sell. Just be careful. Be careful. I just talked about this in Patreon. I did a whole little segment on buying from other vendors on eBay. You'll do far better sticking to local live auctions, estate sales, or even one-offing them at an antique mall. If I go to an antique mall and there's some good postcard vendors there, chances are I could walk with 50 or 60 good postcards that could at least make me, say, 10 to 15 bucks a piece on average. That's a realistic number because most people don't spend the time when they've got thousands of postcards to look them all up. That's the key. I've looked up I've probably looked up 30, 40,000 posts, probably more than that in the last few years. Every item that's in my store, I've either looked up or I've looked it up prior that I don't need to look it up anymore for pricing. And once you've listed or done the same thing over and over again, you're going to get good at it. If you're not, you're doing the wrong thing. Dave Mack. Well, welcome aboard. Thank you very kindly, Dave. Kelly Butler, how are you doing? Do you ever do private valuations on antique items? And my Patreon people can post images anytime they want. Usually takes a couple days to get back because of my schedule. I am a reseller first and foremost. That is where we make our money. But I pretty much will give anybody posts, any Patreon member can get a response from me in there. I respond to every single post, every single item in there. I think I've been on Patreon, I think, for close to 3 years, maybe. And all that time, I think there's maybe been 3 items I couldn't give them any information on. And other than that, they're probably sports-related stuff. I'm not big on sports at all. And I don't like to chime in if I don't know the item. But other than that, I've been able to identify price, give recommendations for pretty much everything else. That's where you're going to get it. I mean, I don't have time. Let me call this out too, because I get a lot of hate from people, and I don't get it, that they get mad when they expect me to be able to answer. People post questions, obviously, in my videos, and it happens to every YouTuber out here. Some people can spend the time and do it. I don't know how. I don't know how you'd ever have the time with the amount that we get. But people get mad when I don't answer questions in the feed. I don't even have time to read or even look at 90% of the comments. In one given day, I could have 200, 250 in comments in one given day. Multiply that times 7. I don't know how I would have to shut down my reselling business to answer people's questions. It's not possible. I don't get paid to do that. I don't get anything extra out of it. I'm responsible to cover my bills, and I can't apologize for doing that. That's just life. And it's shocking how many people start, if I don't respond, or if one of the kids heart it for somebody, you can heart it, but you can't answer. Hearting it is like a call, letting people know that there's video up and things like that. That's what the hearting aspect usually is used for on YouTube. I can't look at 95 or better percent of the comments on there. I'm sorry, but there's no way. What would it take anybody out there to answer 250 people every day of your life? It wouldn't be fun anymore. It wouldn't be fun. That's why it's everything like that is limited to Patreon, because they're invested into it. It's a paid service. I know. I don't do much of that at all, but I'm going way out of my way. I spend hours a week on just emails alone to those in Patreon. I don't slack. I try to give good, long, proper explanations for everything. I don't just say, hey, do this. I tell you why. That's just me. But again, Patreon's the only place that I can do it because of my time. My time is, again, I just talked about time. I've got to get so much value out of one of my hours. There's just no other way around it. Because if I could do something else, I could make more money. I can't afford to spend 3 hours a day answering 250 comments and not do my own stuff. Again, I can't, and most of the time when I get a lot of questions, I do get, I don't know every specific one, but a lot of times if the kids point out something, it's something so basic, you should be able to look it up yourself. You know, I can't spend my valuable time answering major basic questions on something that's easily looked up. That's the point, I guess. My time is more valuable, and people just don't get that. They think I'm being rude, but I don't know how in God's green earth anybody can answer that many or even address even a tenth of them. There's just no freaking way. You know, I spent hours on emails as it is. I couldn't imagine adding hours in to answer, what would that be, a week? You're talking maybe close to 1,700 comments a week. I don't just get them on a new video. I get them on all kinds of videos. You know, people watch old videos. I've got some in my top 50 videos right now from this month that I put up 2 years ago that are still getting 1,000 views a day on a couple. You know, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Christina Kern, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly. Mike CMWS. Bought a whole lot of Elvis pictures at an estate sale. Some say to drop all Elvis stuff. I don't know why you'd drop Elvis stuff. I'm sitting on a couple autographs of his right now. I've got one up there right now I just picked up the other day. Elvis stuff's still fairly hot. If they're reproductions, though, they're not old. They're not by like boxcar or something like that. They could be, you know, carry no value. Just because it's a famous person doesn't mean that those photos are going to be worth anything. And that's a mistake a lot of people make. When I'm buying Elvis stuff, I consider it, Elvis stuff is good if it's before he passed. That would be my personal take on it. He has to be alive. Standard photos of him are dime a dozen. Reproductions, dime a dozen. Just like we brought up the issue, somebody's talking about making copies of videotapes. Same thing. People make copies of photos and think they can just sell them too. That's why there's no value in a lot of that. When somebody floods the market with cheap rip-offs, it kills the market. That's what happens. Scott, following your advice, ran a sale end of last week. Haven't seen big bump in make offers, but got some good orders. So you got some sales out of it. Again, everybody's business is going to be different. I know my clientele. I know the type of people who buy from me, and I know usually why they buy something from me. And I think a lot of people miss the customer aspect of it. Just because you don't have to see or deal with folks for the most part doesn't mean you shouldn't try to engage those people buying from you. Many times it's potential buyers who help me and give me information to ID things. Many times, you know, I can get a gist on pricing or what I should look for or all that kind of thing by talking to those who buy from me. It's a no-brainer. You can't see them in person, but you can still reach out. Thank you for the purchase. Just curious what was of interest of this item. Why did you buy this item? Those are things that I ask people. You know, and when you do that, you find out things that you'd be surprised. I found a lot of new things, new items, new niches, new things that I can make money off of just from people giving me that information, from asking questions. You know, far too many people miss that engagement. They don't think it's essential, but I get repeat customers. If somebody orders from me and they're a collector in a category, chances are they're coming back because I give them tip-top, everything's sealed in plastic, everything's professionally wrapped, everything's cardboard, everything is in cardboard. We buy stuff online and it comes just wrapped in a poly bag with no protection from water damage, and wife's gotten clothing that's been ruined. I mean, just all kinds of stuff, and that's like a large chunk. And just the simple fact of packing something correctly can get you more return customers. Like in Patreon, the last video, I think it was the last video, I showed you some items from 2 different genres, government-related genres, where a person bought multiple items from me Now, those were, I think, on the same day. And then that in an average day, I probably have at least a couple repeat customers. And when you do niches, when you do collectibles, like postcards, you get a draw. You get people who start to watch. You get people who will follow you and will constantly come back because of the service and things like that. You combine, you'll go the extra mile, you answer all their questions. You answer them quickly, too. If you don't answer questions on eBay, too, let me touch this, too, as I want to get this out there. They might go to somebody else and buy it from somebody else because you took so long to answer their question. And I've had people tell me, I never answer questions. Most of the time, the question's a waste of my time. Most of the time, they're never going to buy it. I find just the opposite. Somebody just asked me, maybe 10 minutes before the show, about the measurements of a roller skating label. And it was from some, maybe I'll put it in a Wet Soul video, but it was not San Diego, San Bernardino maybe, roller skating label from California. I gave them the measurements. 2 minutes later, they bought it at my offer price to them. And this is from an offer from a watcher. I sent out an offer to them. They asked for the size. I gave them the size, and they immediately bought it. That's the third one in the last 3 days that somebody asked me a question, and I answered it, and I got a sale almost immediately. And that's the last 3 questions I got. So, again, everything that you do has to be related to helping a customer, helping your clientele, letting them know that they should come back. And one other thing here before, because we're getting down to the end, eBay has offer added in. When you're sending an offer to a watcher, if you want to get a coupon out, you can click that coupon, the button. So when you send the offer out, they can also get a coupon. And that coupon cannot be used on the item you're sending the offer to. It's only for a future item. So you've got nothing to lose. So instead of mailing them out as well, you can put it up on their side, so you don't even have to worry about mailing them out anymore. That's a good option. It does work. And again, it's going to take you some time. M. Scott was talking about that. Again, I don't know what quantity you have up. I don't know how many watchers you routinely have on a given day. Those are things that I would recommend looking at. I would also recommend doing your whole store, all the items you have for sale, sort them by how many have watchers. Take count of that number. You also keep track at the same time how many you're able to send offers to watchers to. Compare those things to it. If you run a sale and you're not getting all the offers to watchers, you still may be getting watchers. You just don't have the ability to send them an offer. So just because you're not getting that, it still might mean that you doing that sale has drawn them in. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're able to send more watchers out. Now, I do get that option. We've sent out like 250 offers to watchers in just the last day because when they come in, I send them out immediately. If you don't send those offers to watchers out when they come in, they could be off. They could be voided within 20 minutes of them showing up in your store. People don't get that. They think they're going to be there. I'll wait. I don't wait on any of them. If I just listed the item, I'll discount it as little bit as I can. There's a minimum amount you have to do depending on the value. So if it's say a $120 item, I think you have to mark it down like $5 for it to allow it to do it. And that's what I'll do. Again, it's figured into my price before it's ever been listed. I'm 3Xing or higher on the item, so if I knock off $5, who cares? I would have taken an offer for $10 or $20, even $30 less than that $5 off. It's a game. That's what I'm telling you. It's a game, and too many people don't get that. And I don't ever worry about countering offers. I have people telling you, never counter offers. eBay's going to penalize you. I counter offers. If I don't like the offer, I counter every one. And if they turn it down, who cares? If you need the money that bad, take the offer and don't worry about counting it back. But I don't need it, so I counter back on all those. It's I could do this in my sleep. I could close my eyes and probably do this same job. But I've been doing it for 14 straight years, full time. And again, 26, almost 27 years part-time, going back to the days of Yahoo auctions. I'm OG in this matter, and I take this very seriously. And if you haven't hit the like button, we're at 188 people in house. I got 134 thumbs up. Smash that thumbs up. I'm going to get to maybe one or two more questions. We're going to try and cut it off at 8:30 here. Let me see if I can go down without it losing my feed again. Conversely, on Etsy, non-sale stuff selling better than expected. Yeah, Etsy is hit or miss. Some of the things and moves Etsy's doing, I am not happy with at all. In some aspects, the paper sells better now on Hip than it does on Etsy. I hate to say it, but I'm not happy with those running it. That would be my guess. Weaponized hoarder, no surprising in the Toledo, Detroit area. I don't have much anywhere around here. It's not just Toledo, Detroit. I probably have better luck and nicer people in Detroit, in all honesty. At least the places I go. There's a big flea market near going towards the airport that I've done. What's it, Middle Belt, I think it's called. Yeah, it's Middle Belt. I've never had any rude people there, but that's a flea market, you know. Dave W. had someone take something out of my cart from the Goodwill bins just yesterday. I've seen that many times. Most of the online auction guys are scams. They boost prices and charge high fees. Very, very good on many of those are like that. Old man picks everything fine here. Let me move down. Hey, Trina, how are you doing? Welcome. Dave, Midwest Picker. Estate sales in Michigan aren't bad. Just need to know the good companies. Some are terrible. Yes, some are terrible. I don't even go to estate sales. I don't want the hassle. If I have to go to a estate sale, it means I got to go there a couple hours before they open if I want to be the first one in. Or I can wait till the end and get lesser value stuff. But I'm just not interested anymore. I'm into a garage sale, estate sale. I very rarely go to even a thrift store, in all honesty. Last time I went to a thrift store, I was dropping stuff off. Or meeting somebody there, and that's about it. Once in a blue moon, I meet somebody. I met a subscriber the other day that's local, and I showed him a couple places. But Trina, major outages here in Pittsburgh, PA. Yeah, there's a storm supposed to be rolling through later this evening still, too. Thelma Cable, how you doing? Let me pop on down. Hang on, I just lost where it was at. Hang on, I was just going to answer one, and my feed disappeared on me. Maze Tube, how are you listing 45 items in an hour on eBay? Very easily. I don't know how you couldn't do that if you're doing paper. Is this with multiple people working at the same time? The numbers 100% add up. I got a video showing me actually doing it, so I don't know how that wouldn't add up. With paper, it takes a minute to list a postcard. I don't know how it wouldn't you wouldn't be able to get that many up. I can personally, by myself, as well as everybody else here, can list 45 pieces of paper in an hour. Every hour. There's no, I don't know how that wouldn't add up to you. You just, I guess, don't list a lot of stuff, but I'm not changing anything but a photo, a title, and a price. That's it. I list all like stuff together. I don't change category. Condition box, I might have to put a size in, but if it's a postcard, I don't have to do anything. I have a blanket statement. The description box never changes. It just says a card for any type of card. The description box says may have this issue, that issue. It's got a blanket statement. There's nothing to it. I don't understand why you'd have a question why someone wouldn't be able to list 45 items an hour. I'm not listing clothing. I'm listing a postcard that I have to type in 5 words and a price, 5 digits, 4 digits, and then upload a couple of photos. I don't understand why that would be unobtainable. Again, I got a video here showing it if you want to watch. Again, I wonder why people even question that. Again, I don't know what everybody else does, but for me, that's a piece of cake. And so it is for the wife, my kids, and all the people working for me. 45 an hour is a piece of cake. Again, look at my videos. I got a video showing me do that. Anyway. Weaponized hoarder. Once you hit 10,000 items of good collectibles, how many on average were you selling a day? I can't give specifics on, what you're going to get out of 10,000 listings. It depends on what you have up. 10,000 listings gives you a pretty good, considerable amount. We're going to hit 30,000 on the store I share with you. We're $1,127,000 worth of active merchandise just on the one store. But we're listing like mad. I'm listing probably more than anybody I know right this minute, left and right. I think the wife's actually listing right this second, honestly. It's hard to say. It's going to depend on your own store. My results may not bounce off to somebody else's. I can tell you if you're selling paper like I do, you're going to get the sales like I'm showing you because that's what happens. Once you get it, once you understand the pricing structure and don't trust what you see on other people pricing and things like that. I don't price based on what other people price most items at because most people give the stuff away far too cheap in the paper categories. They don't believe it's going to be worth something. And I definitely make more than most everybody who does auctions in the same exact items that I sell, because if there's not more than one person on that wants the item, it's going to only sell for your opening bid. If your opening bid's $10, that may be all it sells for. But if I put $57.50 on something, I may sell it for $57.50 because that person thinks it's worth $57.50 to them. There's nobody bidding against them, though, if there's only one person doing it. Hence, that's why auctions are a dead thing in my book. We literally got rid of, I think, every one of our auctions because of those factors. And the minute we listed those items as a bin, we already had some of them sold, even though they had been running for auctions for months. So again, you got to understand your market. You got to understand the people buying from you, and nobody does that. Nobody does that. Nobody reaches out to their buyers. Thank you note. Hey, if you ever want this, or if there's something you're looking for. If you don't have a lot of items, that could give you a potential person. Showing interest that you want to be there to help them can help you get repeat customers. The repeat customers are horrendously important in collectibles. If you tick off a collector in, like, say, a small niche category, they may never come back to you again. And if it's a small niche category, you need every single collector out there to want to come back to your store. Customer service is one of the top end things you need to do. And people treat it like, I just mail it off, I don't have to deal with anybody. But that's bad business. That'll lose you money. That you won't know where the market's going. All these other factors and stuff. That's how I figured out on, like the names being important and what the best SEO keywords are for pretty much everything I sell. What's going to sell the item, and that's what you got to spend your time looking into. Hey, Record Crate, how are you doing? Christina Curran. Yeah, systems and organizations. In fact, I've got an article on e-commerce bites about setting up and using corporate America setups to do your stuff, which is what I've done for years. I actually got another article coming out about more advanced stuff, how to buy stuff without having money up front, which is something you can do once you're established, once you have the proper paperwork credentials, which is something big businesses do that most resellers don't do, but I do it. Like having a BOP and EIN and business bank accounts, AP accounts, accountants, all that stuff plays into this. I treat this as a real business, but it's a fun business. So anyway. There's Mike CMWS. There is no way he is posting 45. It takes 5 minutes for ones I'm about. Well, so you are totally wrong, Mike. I hope to call you out on that because I got a video showing me listing 20 items in 20 minutes. So you take it how you want. I list 45 items in an hour. Again, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you can't do it, that's on you. I can do it. And so can everybody here, paper items. It does not take 5 minutes to list anything on this end that's a piece of paper. Again, I don't know. Anybody's crazy if they can't think you can't do it. I got a video, no time lapse, just straight video of me listing. Again, watch it. Track it down right now. It's literally titled something along listing so many items in an hour. Look it up. Watch it. If you can't watch the video and see that that's what I do, then I guess you're watching the wrong channel. Again, I can list more than 45 items in an hour. More than 45 items in an hour if I want and I'm busting it. Again, there's a video up here showing it. Why don't you watch the video before you say I can't do something that I 100% can do as well as anybody here. And I'm not the only one who can do that too. I'll bet you $1 million Duncan can do that numbers too. So I won't respond if you're going to go out and post the crazy things that you can't do something. And yes, there is a way to post them on a CSV file if you wished as well too, but I don't do that either. I don't even need to do that to get 45 items up in an hour. We're going to cut it off in just a second here. So again, Mike, CMWS, I'm calling you out. You need to watch the video because you can see it done in live time. Again, I'm not going to address the issue of 45 items an hour. If you can't believe your own eyes, then you should be watching somebody else. End of story. Again, I'm giving you the facts. You can't believe it, that's your problem. If you can't list that many an hour, you're listing the wrong things. Again, that's why I list so many items an hour, because I figured out how to do it and it's not hard. I can scan... In a minute, I can scan like 30 postcards, both front and back, in like a minute. So again, there's nothing to this if you list the right things. Watch the video. Last time I'm going to say that. 45 items an hour is nothing. I can do probably 50 or 52 items in an hour if I'm busting it, and it's 2 photos per each item. Print ads, I can guarantee you I can do 50 because I only upload 1 photo. If it's close to $8 listed for $9.99 plus shipping. Yeah, just in time's flipping 45 items an hour. It's 100% possible because that's what we do. Again, watch the video. Why does eBay unlist some Dr. Seuss listings but not others? Because Dr. Seuss pulled those books. Dr. Seuss's estate is a private company. They have the rights to do anything they want with their own product. Dr. Seuss pulled them. It is eBay's determination whether they want to sell them or not because of some of the terminology and imagery in those books. It wasn't forced upon the Dr. Seuss estate. They decided to do it all on their own, which is something in this country corporations have the freedom to do. That is their freedom to do what they want, as well as is eBay's freedom to do that as well. I don't buy most of those. I don't go out to places like that. I've got most of the ones that are pulled in my collection here, but again, I'm not. That's eBay's decision. Again, they've announced that. It was announced a long time ago. Months back, Dr. Seuss's estate said they will no longer produce, and they pulled them out. I do believe they requested to have them pulled from all libraries as well, too. I-20, yes, Sandra L., that is it. We're going to end it off in here, I think. I think we're going to end it off in here. I can barely read some of these, but we'll end it off at here. Let me pop over here. I'm sorry. So again, I do appreciate everybody coming on. If you enjoyed the conversation, please smash that thumbs up button for the video. If you need anything else, again, I do have a Patreon page. It is a paid service. The $9.99 option gets you all the videos. There's over 300 videos. I think there's like 15 or 16 like 2-hour-long live show videos that do a bunch of details and stuff. I do identification, pricing. I do a store review for those who ask. All on there as well. I do have another video up tomorrow. It is done. For those in Patreon, I will not be addressing anything until Saturday, and Saturday you should see a new video up. It's going to address some of the items actually posted on the community tab right now. So again, I do thank everybody sincerely for all the kind support. Again, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please smash that like button for us, and I hope you all have a good evening.